Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. I'm watching the movie Tombstone. If you haven't seen the movie Tombstone, you need to. It's a long-ass movie, just gonna let you know it's like 3 hours long. But it's about Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday. It's easily like one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Western movie ever made. But a lot of good actors in it too. But I want to talk about the Chicago Bulls, because I just thought about the most Chicago Bulls thing ever, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, it makes a lot of sense. Then I started seeing videos on YouTube about it, and I was like, you know what, I kind of want to talk about this today, because I got shit I'm doing tonight, so it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but I want to talk about this because the Chicago Bulls are very obviously doing a rebuild. They traded Alex Caruso. They traded DeMar DeRozan for like pennies on the fucking dollar, even though he was leaving anyway. I guess the idea that you got Chris Duarte and 2 second-round picks is at least something, I guess, is better than nothing, even though it's kind of embarrassing. Like, I'm at a point where I was like, yeah, they should have just let the guy fucking walk for nothing. But they also, they can't give Zach LaVine away. He's a guy that I'm kind of thinking won't even play for the Chicago Bulls this upcoming year. Lonzo Ball I don't know if Lonzo Ball picked up his player option or not yet. I think he did. He'd be stupid not to, because he has a $21 million player option. But the Chicago Bulls have signed Jalen Smith to a 3-year, $27 million deal. They're clearly trying to get younger. They traded for Josh Giddey. This is a team that's at least making some type of effort to get younger, and it's very obvious that at this point they're pulling off a tank job. I don't know who's going to trade for Nikola Vucevic yet, but it's probably coming down the pike at some point this offseason. It's very obvious the Chicago Bulls are in full sell mode. They're doing a fucking fire sale, 50% off, come get what you want. They re-signed Patrick Williams, who is a guy that I'm just kind of like, I've kind of given up on the whole Patrick Williams being a great player thing. I don't know. The guy's been incredibly underwhelming since they drafted him. But the thing is, okay, the whole tank job thing is for Cooper Flagg. And if you've seen Cooper Flagg in these Team USA practices, dude's a baller. Like, I'm just going to call it what it is, man. Cooper Flagg can fucking ball. And my worry with this whole thing is that the Chicago Bulls, with the amount of incompetence I've seen out of that front office, okay? With the amount of incompetence I've seen out of that front office, they are going to tank for Cooper Flagg and get it wrong. That's what's going to happen. They're going to tank for Cooper Flagg and get it wrong. And what I mean by that is they're going to tank for Cooper Flagg and not fucking land him. That's what's going to happen. Now, granted, regardless, okay, I understand you've kind of got to be in it to win it. You've got to at least try to have a shitty record to at least get some type of chance at the number 1 overall pick. But it's just the idea, we look around the league, boys, there's a lot of other teams that have a chance at getting him. There's Utah, there's, we don't know how great San Antonio is going to be, but Portland is probably going to be in that mix as well. Detroit could be in that mix. Brooklyn is going to be in that mix. So like there's a handful of teams out there that are going to be in the mix for this. I don't think the Clippers are going to be a team, but Atlanta might be. Atlanta's another team that could maybe be in the mix. It's just, I worry that the Chicago Bulls are going to sell their entire fucking franchise for next to nothing. The same thing is, it's like, also, the thing that I don't understand is, like, even if they are going after Cooper Flagg, why aren't you trading these guys for draft picks, right? Like, why didn't you get any draft picks for Alex Caruso? To me, that was inexcusable. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's same thing with DeMar DeRozan. Regardless of what you think of DeMar DeRozan is still one of the best small forwards in the game. I understand his fit on a lot of teams really isn't the greatest, but like, if you're gonna be trading away guys, right, you should be asking for first round picks, and they're not even doing that. They're like, you traded Alex Caruso to OKC, who has enough first round picks to draft a fucking football team, and you didn't even get 1 first round pick out of them, okay? And I look at the Chicago Bulls team, I'm like, it would be the most Chicago Bulls thing ever if they had a shitty record, started tanking, their goal was to try to get Cooper Flagg, and then instead of the number 1 overall pick, they're going to end up with like pick 4 or pick 5 or pick 3. Anything that's not number 1 is, I hate to say it, but anything that's not number 1 seems like almost a total loss for the Chicago Bulls. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand you got to at least try to get Cooper Flagg, but, I'm just curious. What's the 2025 NBA draft class look like? I'm just curious. Let's go to, I guess Tankathon, right? Cooper Flagg is number 1. A lot of these other guys I don't know much about. Ace Bailey's number 2. Dylan Harper's number 3. Nolan Triori, if I said that correctly, is number 4. This is all going to change, obviously. But it's just the idea. It's like I look at this and I'm like, if Cooper Flagg is the guy you're really going after, you should be stacking picks. Because I'm going to be honest, if anybody's going to get Cooper Flagg, I really think it's going to be a team that like nobody kind of expects, or a team that's like, you know, like a team like the Brooklyn Nets. You know what I'm saying? Like they're a team that I'm like, they could end up with the number 1 overall pick. Or a team like Detroit. If Detroit got fucking Cooper Flagg, oh, forget it. You know what I'm saying? Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, and Cooper Flagg. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be almost ideal, I think. Now that they have JB Bickerstaff as a head coach, I'm like, yeah, you know, that might be ideal. But I just feel like this is the most Chicago Bulls thing ever. They're gonna tank. They're gonna fuck up their tank. They're gonna do like a half-assed tank, if I'm being honest. Like they're going to try to make trades to get younger players. They're going to try to like lose their ass off this season and hope their record is just shitty enough to get themselves Cooper Flagg. Because at this point, right, if you're a Chicago Bulls fan, that's the only light at the end of the tunnel you've got. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only light you have at the end of the tunnel is to hope that your season absolutely fucking sucks, and that as a result, you can get into the top 3 or get Cooper Flagg. Now, I don't know if that's actually going to happen, because obviously there's no guarantee anymore. Just because you have a shitty record doesn't mean you know, just because you have the worst record in the league doesn't mean you get the number 1 overall pick anymore. So, you know, they're gonna, I have a feeling the Chicago Bulls will be in the top 3. That much I think is almost a given, or at least top 5. That's a given. But to get inside that top 3, inside that top 2, I just feel like it's not gonna happen, and I feel like they're gonna trade all these players away. They're not gonna get draft picks. They're gonna take bets on guys that they maybe shouldn't take bets on. Like, don't get me wrong, Josh Giddey's a decent player, but is he great by any means? I really don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a guy that, you know, in the playoffs, in the first round, he played very well. Then in the second round against, I think it was the Mavericks, like, he was just a non-factor, just because he doesn't have a jump shot. So, you know, it's a really, really awkward situation if you're a Chicago Bulls fan. I look at this and I think to myself, okay, you know, like, Chicago's obviously trying to get Cooper Flagg. That much is for certain. But are they actually going to do it? Probably not. What do they have? Like a 14% chance, 15% chance of the number 1 pick? Now, if they do get Cooper Flagg, I will say this. If they do manage to pull off Cooper Flagg, that's huge for the Chicago Bulls. Like, they would finally get themselves like a bona fide number 1, like, superstar level talent. But the thing is, like, the same thing with Zion. Like, I remember when Zion was, like, the talk of the draft when he was getting drafted, and everyone was like, New York, New York, New York, and then the fucking Pelicans of all teams got the number 1 overall pick. So, it's just the idea, just because a team tanks for a player doesn't mean that they're going to get it. And that's why, that's another thing that I think also incentivizes teams in the league not to tank, because it's like, there's no guarantee you're going to get that number 1 pick. But if I'm a betting man, which I am, the Chicago Bulls are going to try. They're at the very least going to try and get Cooper Flagg. And at this point, I feel like that's what they need to do. Same thing with the Atlanta Hawks. You know, the Atlanta Hawks are in the same boat as the Chicago Bulls, and so are the Brooklyn Nets. You know what I'm saying? Detroit, maybe not so much, but Detroit's a team that could still have a shitty record and end up, you know, picking Cooper in the Cooper Flagg sweepstakes. But I just worry that this team is really going to fuck up this rebuild. Like, I think they already have. I think DeMar DeRozan, like, to me, okay, you should at the very least at this point have 3 first-round picks, because you traded DeRozan and Alex Caruso and you didn't get any. So, I don't know, man. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm just thinking, like, this is going to be the most Chicago Bulls thing ever. They're going to try to tank for Cooper Flagg. They're not going to get him. They're going to be forced to settle for something else. And we're going to be, continue to watch the Chicago Bulls be a fucking poverty franchise. That's what I think is going to happen. And if I was a betting man, I would put money on that bet. Like, if that was something, like, can you bet on the number 1 overall pick on FanDuel? Like, is that something you can do? Like, who's, like, for the draft lottery, like, who's going to get the number 1 pick? If somebody has that, can somebody let me know? If you're in the Discord or any of that shit and you know about that, please let me know. Because I would actually bet on that the Chicago Bulls do not get the number 1 overall pick. Like, I would bet a lot of money on that, just because of how unfortunate their luck has been, and on top of it, just the way that the front office has been. Like, Cooper Flagg is one of those dudes that I just feel like the Chicago Bulls just simply don't fucking deserve him. Like, not until you overhaul that front office, not until Mark Eversley loses his fucking job. Once you get rid of Mark Eversley, then we'll talk. Then we'll talk about you being a franchise that deserves Cooper Flagg. But until I see that move happen, I just think to myself, yeah, you know what, this is a fucking dumpster fire. So tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. Like, helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. And I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.